Alright, this will be part 3 of fixing this train. I'm going to clean up some of this that I did earlier that I screwed up and didn't record. And then we'll get into some more repairs. Just going to kind of melt this down a little bit and smooth it out, so that when paint goes on, it'll be fairly smooth. This is the edge of a plastic piece of a milk jug that I welded on to cover this hole. I'll probably still put a piece of, or not a piece, but I'll put some epoxy on here to smooth it out even more. Still got to fill in this little hole right here, this low spot here, right here, and then over here, and then fix this crack. Right now I'm going to do this hole, this spot. I'm going to put a piece over this, and we'll see how we are after that. So I just cut a big piece off of the milk jug. I'm going to use one corner of it to, well, overlap it about 1/8 of an inch, bigger than the hole. And then just start melting it to the other piece. And then once we get it trimmed off, we'll smooth it up pretty good. You just take the very tip of it and just make a line, and just kind of go through that line a couple of times and gently push on it, and it will cut it. That way you can get it the size you need it. Like I said, when it gets clear, it means it's really hot, it's melted, so you can just kind of leave that spot for a few seconds. It will cool back down some, and then go back to it. Just kind of smoothing this out a little bit. It's not going to be perfectly smooth, but you can get it where it won't be noticeable. If your tip starts getting plastic residue on it, just scrape it off. Now we'll do the same thing with this little hole. Just going to overlap the hole a little bit, melt the plastic on one side, and then just kind of cut the big piece off, and then go back and clean it up. Looks like I cut it off too small. I'll just take a little bit more off of this corner. melted on there. And then once it cools, I'll be able to make sure the hole is completely covered. You see how it turned white already? So I'll just smooth it out a little bit. Smooth this part out a little bit from earlier. Now I'll fill in this little low spot. I'll just kind of melt a bunch of plastic on there. Just push it in to the low spot with the tip. The edge, this edge right here, touched it right there and kind of made a little notch on it, so I'm going to clean that off. That one little spot may not line up perfectly, but at this point in the game, considering what it was before, just a big open hole. I don't think it's too bad. I think I'll just put epoxy on there and smooth it out. So what I'm going to do now is use this piece to cover this hole. So I'm going to overlap it a little bit, do a spot down here at the bottom, and then I'll do it. I got way over. You want to have a little bit extra plastic to work with, but not a whole lot. About 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it'll hold it there, and then I can go down this side. I can see the crack through it, so I'm just going to come just like that and cut it off. Just make sure, be careful when you're doing this that you're not poking the tip into the actual blow mold, because you can burn a hole in it and not even realize it until it's too late. Luckily this one is got kind of a lip right here, so this part is probably 1/4 of an inch right there that it's recessed. Now just smooth that spot out. Do this edge. Just always keep the tip moving and don't let it sit still. That's when bad things happen. You can take the tip, kind of push the plastic over, kind of make it bend a little bit. If you do it this way, then you take a straight piece of plastic and just bend it over and weld it. Then you take a flat piece, bend it, and it's going to keep trying to pull away. So if you heat it and bend it and then weld it, you won't have that pressure of it trying to straighten itself back out. You can take the edge of the soldering iron, and just kind of keep cleaning it up. Just go fast. Just kind of run it back and forth, and it will smooth out the rough spots. A little bitty pinhole right there. There. That should cover it. I'm just going to smooth out any other spots I see. Once I get through doing all of this, I'm going to reach inside and put some epoxy on the inside. Just a little added insurance, a little extra strength. I guess I didn't specify in other videos. If you get the epoxy to use, make sure it's clear. They make some that's not clear. Use the whatever brand you prefer. Just make sure it's clear. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get that. So I'm gonna unplug the soldering iron and get the epoxy if I can find it. It's right in front of me. Like I said before, I use E6000 clear. It's transparent. Then I use this handy little spreader that comes with Gorilla brand epoxy. I don't like using Gorilla brand because it's two-part and you have to mix it up every time and it just makes a mess. But you can use this to smooth it out quite a bit. I'm just going to squirt some up in that hole and then put a little bit in there. You know, if you got something that you can't lay flat like this, having two surfaces, just kind of be careful with it, putting too much on the first time. because until it starts curing, it will run. So all of this will gradually leak down there. This is just going to be the first coat. I didn't want to put it on too thick. You can't really tell, but it's not quite up to this edge right here, but the second coat will be. Let that epoxy sit for 24 hours or so. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit around that edge to smooth it out, and a little extra insurance, just a little extra strength. Just kind of smooth it out. Just don't scrape it all off of there. I don't know if you can see that crack that I covered very good. Right here. I just took the piece, welded down this side a couple of places, took the tip and kind of pushed it to match this contour along here. So that'll look fairly good. This part here, you can see I had this little line, managed to kind of leave that line over here and then follow this shape right here. So doesn't look too bad. This is a little rough. I'll put some, once this cures and I can stand the train up, I will put some of this, put some epoxy on here and smooth this out some more. Now I'm gonna turn the train around where I can see this bottom crack that I already did some work on. You can see I already epoxied a crack around here, right here, and then it had a little crack, had a crack coming around here, and then kind of making a U shape right there. That's just a scratch. It's not really a crack. So I'm gonna go ahead and, while I've got it laying on this side, I'm gonna put a little more epoxy on there, and it can cure while that other cures. And then we'll be ready probably to flip it onto the other side. And start work on that side. And now there's at least one crack on one corner of the cab on that side. possibly 2, but they weren't anything like that hole. And this train is going to be repainted. It looks like somebody repainted part of it before. They did an okay job, but not the best. So I will probably, if it doesn't sell this Christmas, I will probably strip it and repaint it before I put it back on the market. When I got it, it did not have a smokestack, so I got lucky and found an original unpainted smokestack online. Bought it. I'm painting it. I've got to do one more color on the very top on it, and it will be finished. I may do a custom paint job on this train. I've seen some of them that were painted red, white, and blue, and they look pretty good. May do that on this one, but I've got to fix all the damage to it first. And this one I know has a crack right there that goes over to this wheel that I'll have to fix, but that's not that big of a deal. Make sure there's not any more damage on this side. I don't see any. So we'll let that sit and come back in a day or two and see what we got. So if you like the video, click that like button down below. If you want to subscribe so you get notified when I post the next video on this, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.